Would you give Newcastle a 7 out of 10 for them under Eddie Howe since he's been in charge, or higher?
A little bit more than that. Yeah, no. They've spent a lot of money, but they've spent it wisely. I think if you ask any Geordie, do they think they're getting value for money in terms of what they've spent and what they're seeing on the surface? And I would say they would say yes. I'm pretty sure of that. I think the quality of the type of football that Eddie plays is progressive, is exciting. His set plays are always inventive. They were so unlucky in Paris, so unlucky to come away with nothing. And it's a big game tonight. And you see, you had a couple of quotes that you was playing there from people in the game saying they expect them to beat AC Milan tonight. And I do too, but it's still a very, very tough game. And I think Europa League is probably where they're going to end up, and I think that will be enough for Geordies. I think they're hoping for Champions League, but if they get the Europa League, I think they'll be happy.
When he took over, Eddie Howe, a lot of eyebrows, I think, were raised because Eddie Howe hadn't. Well, towards the end of his time, of course, got sacked from Bournemouth. Then, of course, you got your sugar.
Yeah.
Right, stick the sugar in, give it a little stir. You go for 2, do you?
No, we're having one of these.
Oh, just the one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just fake.
While you're putting that in, I will ask the question. Have you got a stirrer, by the way? You got a stirrer, okay.
Stirrer.
When all the money came into Newcastle United, there were question marks as to whether or not, of course, big superstar players would turn up, but more importantly, they would look to get a bigger name to manage the club, to, of course, push them further along, not just in the Premier League, but also in Europe. They haven't done that. They've stuck with him, and he's been just unbelievable, I think, for them so far. Are you surprised at how well and how quickly he's got them to where they are now?
Well, no, I'm not, if I'm honest, because I've always been a fan of Eddie. I thought that last year at Bournemouth, I don't know really what happened there, because prior to that, they were really excelling in lots of areas of the way they played and everything and the money that they spent. So I think it was logical, and he's English, and we're quick to criticise our own. We're not, we're not this, we're not that. We don't know progressive football. His football is as good as anyone in the Premier League. He handles himself so well on the PR side of the business as well, and I think and everything. And I know because obviously he's inherited about 4 or 5 of my staff members that I have as friends now from Newcastle, and they all tell me what a lovely guy he is. He's always accommodating to the staff in and around, not in a kind of gestury, I'm the manager, but I'm going to be nice to you way, a genuine way. And I think that's always appreciated and known by staff members. And because some managers do play that game, by the way. But Eddie's not one of them. And so, in my view, he's definitely a contender for Gareth's job when Gareth decides to walk away, or we don't win the European Championship and they decide to move on. I think Eddie will be in for a big shout on that.
Let me ask you then on the back of that, because I've had this argument with Benty. I say that, go on, you're going to try it. So this is how the tea would have been, because all you've done is just put sugar in. So now it's up to your level.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not made with tea. It isn't made with tea
LC
leaves. It's made with a tea bag, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's talkSPORT.
It's always an 8. Yeah. If you want to go, it's Fortnum and Mason. Fortnum and Mason.
What? Yeah, okay.
Can't everybody shop there?
Yeah, they should, by the way, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they should. Yeah.
They're Yorkshire tea bags, my favourite.
I do see a big queue at Fortnum Mason of all types of people picking up the tea. So
of course,
it's not,
yeah. Do you see? Look through the glass. Do you see any of those type of people there?
No, none of them.
No, fine, okay.
No.
I have this argument with Benny all the time, not about Fortnum Mason tea. I've always said that if you are a manager of Newcastle, Eddie Howe, and England knock on your door tomorrow, you give up the Newcastle job and you go and manage the country. He said, not in a million years should Eddie Howe take that job if it's offered tomorrow. What's your view on that?
Well, I do have an opinion that's greater than Darren Bent's, because Darren Bent's never been a manager, right? And I have this issue with a lot of players who are pundits talk about managers. They've never done the role. They've seen the role from their side of the field. They've never actually crossed over and seen it from both sides, right? Because there's another side where you and your staff are trying to piece things together and you're having to work through situations that are not always known to all the other players. For example, you might have a player with a big serious issue that the other players are not known to know about. They can't know about because it's so personal. It's things like that, all sorts of things going on that you can only get if you're on the other side. And also, if you're going to be the manager, then there's even more sort of stuff in your locker that can't be said. And there are some things that I wouldn't even tell my staff, for example, as a manager.
Like what?
I don't know, like the owner might have said something to me that, about the team that I wouldn't relate to them. I don't want to give them a negative. It might have been a negative thing or something like that.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to get to is that, and I'm not trying to put Darren down, by the way, or the
You can, we don't mind.
Yeah, no, of
course.
course.
In fact, we almost encourage it.
But Eddie, would he give up that job with the finance he has available and the love he's getting from those fans? It would be a tough call, but I don't think there's any English manager who would turn down the England manager's job if it come to you. And certainly in my career, there's been one or two times I've sort of been in the frame and, got indirectly asked, of course you're interested, of course you are.
Where were you and how did you indirectly get asked?
I think once was at Newcastle, I can't remember which change that was. But, in these situations, when you've got, when you think about I think in the past, maybe Benty had a point of what he's trying to say about Newcastle. I get it. But when you look at the standard of play you're getting with the England team at the moment and what's coming through, we're probably the strongest underneath our first team than any country in the world at the moment. With the under-18s, the under-20s, they've all won trophies. They've all been in competition. They're all used to competition football. So we're in a great shape. So if I took the answer for Eddie, I'd say, Eddie, take it. If I was his agent, I'd say, Eddie, take it.
If you were any job, i.e. Manchester City, let's go for one of the biggest in the country. And I say one of, because I'm putting Liverpool up there as well. My team, Man United, I'd love to put in there. But at the moment, with regards to how well they're doing and how good the sides are, etc., it's sort of Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. If you're at Man City with this current group of players and you got a knock on the door, come manage England, would you jack in Man City for England?
Well, personally, I would, but I don't think Pep would. Okay, because he's obviously not English.
Yeah.
And plus, he's getting 10 times more money probably than the England job. So, and then other factors of winning trophies, etc., etc. And he's got time. Pep's obviously got time on his side to be a national manager like Mourinho. He talks about it often, doesn't he? As Roman manager, that he'll be a national manager at some point. And I wouldn't be surprised Mourinho come back as manager of a national team, big national team, maybe even England. Who knows? But I personally can't speak for Eddie, but I would suggest that would be a call that, knowing Eddie as I do, I would think it would be a tough call, but I think he would take the England job.
Just going back to England with Gareth Southgate, with the players that we've got, should we be knocking, I won't say win it because it is a knockout competition, but what do you expect with this current group of England players in the Euros coming up? Minimum is what, semis? Well,
look, Gareth's obviously a teammate of mine and a friend of mine. I like to call him a friend of mine. And I would suggest if Gareth hasn't got it in his head that he's going to win that competition, then he shouldn't be the England manager. And I'm pretty sure I know Gareth well enough to think he thinks he's going to win it. He's not going to go in the press and say that, though.
I know, but do you think we will?
Yeah, I do. And the only downside we have in that competition, from what I can see, is your usual suspects, but certainly France with Mbappe and they got the greatest player in the world, in my opinion, who can literally turn a game on his head like he did almost in the last World Cup when they looked well beaten out of it, and then suddenly he went bang, 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 and we had we was going to extra time.
talkSPORT Drive, super opinionated sporting debate, Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.